Hello, welcome back to the channel and welcome to Scotland, where my friend James Tisdale and I are deliberating on Britain's best affordable driver's car 2021 in Autocar, all good news agents every Wednesday and so on. Now, we have got some cars. James, what have we got?
So, at the back we have a BMW 128 Ti, which is a front-wheel drive hot hatch, so not very BMW.
To my left, your right, is a Volkswagen Golf R in not totally performance pack form, is that right?
No drift mode, as basic as you can get a Golf R.
That's a Seat, not Seat, Leon, Cupra Leon
300 VZ3.
Excelente. And this is not entirely new. This is kind of a new car. This is not totally new this year because it's the Caterham Super Seven 1600, which came out last year or year before, but we haven't had it before with one thing and another. It's an SV, so it's a wide one. I prefer the narrow ones,
yep.
But it is cool. It is lovely.
It looks absolutely gorgeous.
And then the probably two main events, aren't there, really?
Yes.
Which is?
So first, for Britain's best affordable driver's car, we have a compact SUV, the Puma ST, which is going to be interesting, but there's a lot of Fiesta in there, so hopefully
which
good
should be
things.
Good. And then finally, I think this is new. It is the Hyundai i20N, which I think is an absolutely cracking hot hatchback. So James is going to drive some cars, I'm going to drive some cars, we're going to drive some cars together, and then we're going to decide what is Britain's best affordable driver's car for 2021.
Now, the BMW 128 Ti, this is quite an interesting proposition. So it's a hot hatch and it's front wheel drive and it's a BMW. Those things have never happened before. Obviously, small, compact, quick BMW stuff has always been rear wheel drive, but the move to front wheel drive with the 1 Series has necessitated a slightly different approach. It's a corner of the market that they've never really occupied. The old 135i and 140i, they sort of sat somewhere around Golf R, but they were different. This car, the 128 Ti, reviving the old Ti badge from the old 2002 days of the 70s, this is aimed directly at the traditional hot hatch market, the Golf GTI basically, the Cupra. And do you know what? It's not a bad first effort. They haven't gone half measures with this car. Essentially, it's a 135i, the four-wheel drive car underneath, but the prop shaft, the rear diff and the rear drive shafts have been removed. It's got the same Torsen front differential. It's the same 2-litre turbocharged engine, but it's detuned to 261 brake horsepower here, 295 pounds-foot of torque, same 8-speed torque converter auto gearbox. Engine's quite nice, not outrageously powerful, but there's enough performance there. It sounds quite nice too. Little rasp to it. And I'll tell you what they've also done. They've got proper dials. So the M135i has got those ridiculous Cortic quadrant dials. This has got actual round dials on. They look like BMW dials, and that's a good thing. So low speed ride is a little on the firm side with those passive dampers. Strange thing is though, the faster you go, it goes through a sweet spot at about 7 to 8 tenths, and then above that, it starts to get a bit floaty. Probably the biggest disappointment is the steering. Now, they've slowed the ratio of the rack compared to the M135i, and as a result, it doesn't feel like the rear axle's really getting involved. And I don't mean in a kind of Larry lift-off oversteer sort of way. Because you have to put quite a lot of lock into the steering, it feels like the front wheels are doing all the hard work and the rears are just following. You have to start leaning on it quite a bit to get some meaningful rotation into the car. But most of the time, a bit like the Cupra, it just covers ground at an astounding rate. It's quite a nice thing. It's a strange beast. It's one that rewards spending time with it. Get in it, give it a blast straight away, and you come back a little underwhelmed. Like I say, it doesn't feel like it wants to turn in as incisely as the others, and it doesn't feel like it's quite as quick, but spend more time with it, get into the rhythm with it, and it flows down the road really nicely. As I say, when you really start to lean on it, the dampers just start to give in a little bit. But there's lots to like here. And again, it's a bit like the Cupra. You feel like BMW have made a better Golf GTI than Volkswagen now do. It's a hot hatch that's really easy to live with, but it has got a bit of something about it when you ramp up everything up to 11 and go for a bit of a drive. BMW haven't done a hot hatch before, as we said, but on the basis of this, they shouldn't have waited so long. It's a car that will fit into your life very easily. If you want something that can haul you and the kids and a bit of luggage, step up and down the motorway, grind through town on the daily commute. Remember those? It does that really well, but it's also, as I say, it's got something of a bit of a playful spirit when you're in the mood.
Okay, so I will start in the Volkswagen Golf R because, why not? It's a Golf, which is the archetypal affordable sports car. Sports car? Hot hatchback, driver's car, whatever. Is it not? It is four-wheel drive. It's a Golf. And it has a 2-litre turbocharged 316 brake horsepower engine at the front, driving through here a twin clutch gearbox. A bit lumpy. I've not been in this car very long. You can, of course, change the drive mode, which is not quite as straightforward as it should be because so much has been put on the touchscreen, which is a little bit baffling. But anyway, slacken the dampers right off, which I think will probably suit a road like this. It feels like quite a large, quite a comfortable, spacious car because, you know, Golfs are these days, these mid-size hatchbacks. It's certainly got plenty of performance to spare. I'll get to a twisty section of road in a minute. Does it feel sporty? Really sporty? Well, no, not overtly, but Golfs aren't meant to. This is the hottest Golf, but Volkswagen always makes sure that its cars are actually usable daily to drive, which is why they're sort of so popular. You know, they're usable all year round, on a motorway, in town and everything. Then you get to a decent bit of road like this that we've just come across, and they're still quite good on these roads too. Now that was just getting a bit loose, the body control over there, so let's put it in sport, which requires a bit of deftness with the touchscreen. And that's firmed up these sort of adaptive dampers a bit to try and keep a tighter grip on that body control. I'm not getting loads of feel through the steering, but it is accurate and responsive and quickly enough. It's nicely weighted, it's sort of middlingly weighted. It's not loads of road feel or anything, just a little looseness of body control over the top of that crest just as it settles. It's not a really keen hot hatchback of the sort of really most focused kind, but Volkswagen will tell you that doesn't really matter. People will like this car because it's quite good fun down a stretch of road like this. It's quite good fun down a stretch of road like this. It's very fast, it's very capable. It makes it quite easy, but it's engaging and enjoyable enough. But the main benefit is that the rest of the time, all year round, it's just as usable as any other Golf. And that's what they wanted to make, isn't it? Can't really argue with that.
So the Cupra Leon 300 VZ3. So what have we got? Well, a bit like the Golf R that my colleague Mr. Pryor has just been driving. This is an MQB car. So we've got EA 888 2-litre turbo underneath the bonnet, about 296 brake horsepower in this one. And it's driving the front wheels through a 7-speed twin clutch gearbox, and we've got the VAC diff, the electromechanical diff that can sort of send torque across the axle for extra traction. We've got 3 driver modes. We've got Cupra, Sport and Normal. Now even in Cupra mode, it's got quite a refined ride. There's quite good plush sort of damping feel to it. Weirdly, this car now feels more like a Golf GTI than a Golf GTI does. The Golf GTI, Volkswagen, they've tried to make it a harder core, more of a hardcore hot hatch. And you feel that Cupra is probably the brand that should be delivering that car. And this car actually feels more civilized, more everyday usable than the Golf GTI, which is a strange thing. It goes some. This EA 888 engine, it's always just had bags of torque from everywhere. As a way from getting from point A to point B as fast and fustlessly as possible, it's pretty good. Doesn't sound particularly exciting, but there's enough of a growl there, even in Cupra mode. And there's loads of grip, there's loads of composure. That diff, you get on the throttle early and it just sort of tucks the nose in on the exit, so it gives you confidence. Steering though, it's a bit light, there's not much to it. It's very quick, very direct. You can trust the car, but it's not really giving you much feedback. It's a car that's really easy to live with, loads of space, 5-door. Like I say, it rides nicely. When you dial everything back, cruises. It's got a long striding 7th gear. It'll do 40 miles to the gallon all day long if you're sensible. And yes, if you want to unleash it on the right road, it's really fast, it's really composed. Is it exciting? I'm not sure it is. The old Leon Cupra, when it was a Seat, had a bit more about it. It felt lighter on its feet. The old car looked a bit sharper, but again, it had the same subtlety to it, but it was kind of it was a bit of a madman when you unleashed it. Whereas this, as I say, it just feels a bit more grown up, and that's very good. I like that. I could live with this car day in, day out for years, and on the right road, I could cover ground very quickly with a decent amount of satisfaction. But it's not a car that tugs at your heartstrings. It doesn't make you want to drive just for the hell of it. And you feel a hot hatch should do that. A very capable car, a likeable car even, but it's not a car that you'll spend a great deal of time thinking about once you've parked it up and closed the door, I don't think. It is good, it is good. I do like it. And like I say, it's a thing to live with. Yes. But you just feel Cupra, now that it's a standalone brand, now that they are really bigging up the emotion, the excitement, you feel like it should have a bit more about it. A bit more noise, a bit more drama, a bit more feedback through the wheel. Something more about it. Strange thing. Strange days when a Cupra is more like a Golf GTI than a Golf GTI, which feels a bit more like the old Cupra did. That's something to ponder.
And so then to the Caterham Super 7 1600, which is like no other car here, because look, no roof. I've kept the doors on so that you can hear me. You can take them off, it becomes quite blustery, and with a roof on it doesn't get much quieter, it just gets quite a lot darker. But it is not, no question, it is not a hot hatchback. That's not where we are. Instead, this is this lovely little lightweight 2-seat roadster, and as we said, this is the wide one. They call it the SV. They do a narrower one as well, which if you're not used to Caterhams, you will think is some surprise, given my elbow is right in the passenger side and I'm not a very big bloke. But there is more room in the footwell, there's more room in the cabin. More people can drive this 7 than the narrow one. I always prefer the narrow one because it's just that bit cooler, that bit purer, but this is absolutely lovely. It's called the 1600, Super 7 1600, and it runs, unsurprisingly, a 1.6 litre engine. It's a Ford unit, and they've got throttle bodies on it with then air filters on the outside, so it looks like an old carbureted engine. It looks like one of the old Ford Crossflows or something. If you get the narrow body, the air filters stick out the side like they used to on the old cars, so it's sort of really evocative and really cool. It's actually the most sort of classically styled of all Caterhams, hence the clamshell wings as well, and this, for a Caterham, reasonably luxurious interior. They usually are much more stripped out, much more racy, and as a result, this only also gets 14-inch rims with 175 section front and 185 section rear tyres. So it's on Caterham's softest, most pliant suspension with its pretty narrow tyres. These things though are still relative. Body control, I say it's soft, body control over dips and crests and things is fantastic because it is just such a light car. Less than 600 kilos, it's just fabulous. The steering is direct and alive in my hands. It's just a real joy. The only thing is whether you can face getting to roads like this where it is absolutely the biggest hit of all of these cars. I don't mind it. I picked this car up from Caterham's showroom in Gatwick, which is in the south of England, and I've driven it 500 odd miles to Scotland. It's a 10 plus hour journey, but roof on, heater on, the driving position's really good. The ride is a bit crashy and the noise levels are high, so you wear earplugs. But I find it quite a relaxing car to spend a lot of time in. Not everybody does. But if you are prepared to live with the sacrifices, this car is on the money, it's on the power. 40 grand, 135 brake, which is underpowered, but it only weighs 600 kilos. It is a performance car, just like all the others here, if you're prepared to accept a little bit of fresh air.
A compact SUV that's also a driver's car. Oxymoron, or actually possible? Well, if anyone's going to do it, it's Ford Performance, and they have. So what we have here is the Ford Puma ST. So essentially, it's a Ford Fiesta ST on stilts. So we've got the same 1.5 litre 3-cylinder turbocharged engine, so 197 brake horsepower, 236 pounds-foot of torque. Do 0 to 60 in a whisker under 7 seconds, onto somewhere north of 140 miles an hour. That's your thing. It's got all the credentials, it's got the statistics, but does it work? At first though, it feels like it's trying a bit too hard. The ride is really quite firm at low speeds. The steering is very quick off the straight ahead. It's like it's desperate to show you that it's a sporting car, and it feels a bit disjointed as a result. Just when you're cruising around, it feels like it just wants to get on with it. It's not as good at just being everyday easy going, and as a result you do have to start winding it up, and then it goes well enough. You can tell there's extra mass over the Fiesta. It's not much, I think it's 50 or 60 kilos, but it just blunts that kind of edge, that peppy performance edge that the Fiesta has. It's torquey and it pulls nicely in the mid-range. I mean, it's not slow, make no mistake, but you're always, especially if you've driven a Fiesta, you're always thinking, Fiesta would have been a bit quicker here. And it's the same the way it drives. Now, I've described it before as being like a Fiesta ST that's had a couple of pints. The character's still there, the personality, but everything's just happening just a little bit slower. But it's not a bad thing, and the more you drive it, as I say, it eggs you on. It wants to be driven hard, and the more you drive it hard, the more of a flow you start to get with the car. That quick steering, allowing you to put the car just where you want it, and there's bags of front-end grip. And weirdly, it is the most throttle adjustable front-wheel drive car here. You have a lift mid-corner, and you can feel the back rotating round. It really wants to get involved in the action, point you straight. It does mean the faster you go, the better it gets. You've got a lovely manual gear shift here. One of the few cars, the Caterham and the i20N, are the only cars with the manual gearbox, and it seems balmy that the compact SUV is one of those cars. Because this is a performance pack, we've got the Quaife limited slip differential, so you can get on the power early out of the corners, and it just pulls you through. It's actually a remarkably fun thing. Can a compact SUV be a driver's car? Do you know what? I think it can. On the basis of the Puma ST, it's pretty damn close. As I say, it's compromised. It has to be. You can't have the centre of gravity this high, the ride this high, and not have some dynamic trade-offs. But the Puma deals with it really well. This is a car that really rewards being driven hard. And because it's not outrageously powerful, you can do that and not come across massively antisocial. I wouldn't have one over a Fiesta ST, but then the people buying these cars don't need a Fiesta or can't use a Fiesta for lots of different reasons. So that's sort of by the by. If I was in the market for a compact SUV and I also wanted to have some fun, well, Puma ST pretty much has the class to itself until the Kona N turns up shortly. Yeah, can't believe I'm saying this, but I actually really like the Puma ST.
Okay, so James, you've driven everything.
Yes.
I've driven everything except this. So this is me getting my thing on this. But before we get to the twisty bits, what do you think? Let's go through what we've driven so far in the order of what we've driven it.
Yep.
So you drove the 128 Ti first.
I did, yes.
What did you think?
I quite like that. It grew on me.
Really?
Yeah.
Like a Veruca?
Like a Veruca, less need for an extra socket knife.
And I thought it was okay. I thought it was okay.
Yeah, I mean it's a weird for a front-wheel drive BMW hot hatch. It shouldn't work. It sort of does, and I think because Volkswagen have gone a bit off-key with the Golf GTI, it feels more like a Golf GTI.
Oh, do you think? Okay.
Yeah.
Which brings me to the Volkswagen Golf R,
Yes.
which I drove a bit, and I thought is very golfy.
Yes.
You just get in it, drive it, fine. And there's a bit of road, which is twisty. I'll have a small amount of fun, and now I'm back on stable.
Yeah.
Do you think it's worse or better than a 128 Ti?
I think it is just for me just a bit better. When you
The
really,
Golf?
yeah.
Okay,
When
I
you
agree.
drive it like a loon,
Yeah.
it does really well. It can do some clever stuff.
Okay. Cupra Leon
Yeah.
VZ3.
300.
You like?
It's very competent, isn't it? It's very fast.
Yeah, it is very fast. The steering's sort of light and samey all the time, isn't
Yeah.
it? But it's quite flat, it's quite stable. Ride's
Yeah.
very flat, very stable. Do you think it is better or worse than a Golf R?
I think it is about the same.
So it's better than a 128 Ti?
Oh, now you've confused me. Hold on.
Well, I haven't really, because we've just said a Golf's better than a... So the Golf's better than a BMW, and if the Cupra
It's
is the
not-
same
no,
as
it's
the
not-
Golf...
It's not as good as Golf. No.
Okay.
S-Bend hit. Oh, it does.
Oh
now.
my god, it does
Yeah.
not! It does. So it tells me an S-Bend's coming up and I should engage fast mode.
Yes, pretty much. I mean, that's quite fun, isn't it?
That is quite good fun. And it just, and all it takes is that one. And it burns! The rev counter. But
I know.
Alright, okay. Well, this gets points already. Okay, so do you think, alright, so is the Cupra better than or worse than the BMW? I know what I think.
I think I would probably have the BMW over the Cupra.
Oh, okay. I might have the other
Maybe.
way. But anyway, okay, so there or thereabouts. Okay, Caterham next. Well, right, now, viewer. When this feature appears in the magazine, the Caterham may be sort of not exactly part of the whole test for the very reason that it's only got 2 seats, it weighs 500 kilograms. The idea of the affordable driver's car is a car you buy and you run every day, but you get some fun out of when you want to. Caterham isn't that kind of car. Is it the most fun car here?
Yes.
By a factor of...
A billion.
Yeah.
Probably.
Oh, it's great, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's really great.
It's hilarious. Those
Yeah.
those throttle bodies with the induction.
Oh, God, it sounds so good. It sounds so good.
And it
And in
looks so
fact,
good.
there it goes.
Yeah.
So that leaves us on to the Puma.
Yes.
And... Go on, you spent a long time in that,
Yeah,
more than me.
you're probably going to scowl at me.
Go on.
I actually quite like that, and I
Mhm.
know I shouldn't. The more you drive it, the more it makes sense. It's a weird car at low speed because obviously there's compromise they have to make something that high handle in a certain way.
Yeah.
It all feels a bit too eager, but then when you really do start to go a bit faster, it makes a lot more sense.
Do you prefer it or not to... This is good. Do you prefer it or not to the Golf?
They're different cars, aren't they? I think I'd live with the Golf. I could live with the Golf for longer and
Yeah.
do more things with it and it not annoy me. The Puma would annoy me because the ride's quite firm.
It's pretty
But
firm, isn't it?
It's the weirdest thing. We've got a number of front-wheel drive hot hatches here, and the most throttle adjustable is
It's the compact crossover.
It's the compact crossover
Yeah.
SUV.
Well, it's because it's a Ford, isn't it? And they
Exactly.
do that tuck thing on a turn
and it
in.
feels lighter on its feet than almost anything else here.
Yeah.
So it is quite a likeable thing. You just have to remove from the equation the word Fiesta,
That-
not Focus.
Is my exact problem with it. Is all the time I'm driving it and somebody's going, how do you make it? Well, how would you make a great front wheel drive, little affordable driver's car? I've always got that in the back of my mind. Well, I wouldn't start with this. I wouldn't start with a compact crossover. I'd start with a Fiesta or a Focus, or in fact, a Hyundai i20. All right. Well, so that brings me to the final car, which we haven't described yet, but it's my first time along these twisty set of roads. It's really nice, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's really nice. It's almost doing the Fiesta ST sort of. It's very clear. That's what they benchmarked as the car, isn't it? It's, body control's really nicely contained. Roll is limited. The steering's got that nice thing that Ford do, and Hyundai have tried to copy, definitely, where it sort of takes up that torque as you turn off straight ahead, and the torque builds,
Yeah.
and you get that feel.
You can also see that how they've tried not to make it like a Fiesta,
It's a bit less tucky and
Yeah.
rearward on turning.
which sometimes,
It might be a good thing.
yeah, I quite like that. On
Yeah.
roads you don't know, I don't want something sideways watching because I've had a little bit of a lift on the throttle.
Because the rear is trying to overtake
Yeah,
you. Yeah.
which is really fun when you're in the mood.
Yeah.
This, I think you could drive faster for longer and it would be less tiring. But you'd still
Really?
be enjoying yourself.
Really nice gearbox. Brake pedal feel is really good. Engine's sort of raughty enough, isn't it? Let's see how it revs to. Quite zingy.
So it's got a bit of pop and all that going on in the exhaust.
tightly controlled,
Yeah.
but not harsh.
No. I think they've done I always quite like the i30N.
Really nice over there. Yeah, I think the i30N is much better than some people give it credit for.
Yeah, and I think they've kind of created a mini i30N.
Yeah. I think this is. Do I think this is better than i30N in its class? The i30N is certainly one of the best in its class for me.
Yeah.
This is bang up there, isn't it? I think in this class too. I think this is. I'm having a lot of fun here, man. This is great.
It's this or a Fiesta ST basically in that class.
Yeah.
So you just need to ask yourself, what sort of do you want a slightly more extrovert personality, or do you want a serious? Because this is quite a serious car. I think this feels like it's been properly engineered to be quick and controlled and precise, and that's good in its own way. I really, genuinely, I enjoy this car.
I'm liking this a lot.
Cracking it.
Okay, so what did we decide was second best? Well, apart from the Caterham, obviously. Was it the Golf?
I think the Golf is probably
or the Puma.
No, I think the Golf.
The Golf.
I think the Golf is still the car you'd have.
So in that case, is this better or worse than a Volkswagen Golf R? This one is, by the time the board turns around, we've got to make a decision. This is the final. This decides effectively the winning position, because obviously the Caterham actually wins.
Yes.
But you can't do the school run with 3 children in it, and so on and so forth.
You can try 3 runs.
Yeah, which might be worth it. Is this better or worse than a Volkswagen Golf R?
Better.
Is the correct answer.
Thank you.
Yeah, is the correct answer. We are in agreement, which is great.
Yeah.
I think this is mega. So I drove a prototype last year, I guess, and so this is the first time I've driven it in the UK. Literally, as you and I have sat in it.
Yeah.
And along that stretch back there, that's really good. I think that's really, really good. So there you go. Britain's best affordable driver's car is a Caterham Super Seven 1600. But if you cannot live with a Caterham Super Seven 1600 every day, it is the Hyundai i20N, and it's great.
Verdict.
I like that. I'm happy with that.
Yeah.
So thank you for watching. We appreciate it more than you know. We have more reviews, news, motor shows, yada yada yada. We're at Autocar.co.uk all the time. We're in all good news agents every Wednesday. There is a digital magazine subscription which is available everywhere. Please give us a like and a subscribe, and if you turn on bell notifications, you will never miss another Autocar video. Thank you very much. See you next time.
Right.